Sadiq White's commitment can be a precursor for more recruits to follow. This is a top 25 player in the nation. This is someone that other players can get excited to play with. And one of those players is Kenne Anthony. He reposted Sadiq White's Instagram saying that he was going to Syracuse on his own. He reposted it. He didn't have to. I wouldn't have said it's nothing. I wouldn't have cared if he didn't. If Kenne Anthony doesn't repost it, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But it's a big deal that he did repost it. I think that does signal something. Here's another coincidence here. Joe Tipton, he was the same person that moderated the Sadiq White commitment last night. He recently logged a prediction for Kenne Anthony to go to Syracuse. Coincidence? Coincidence? Why is that? Why is that? On3 has it at 90% basically. It's like 89.9, so we'll round up to 90% for Kenne Anthony to be coming to Syracuse. That's pretty good, right? So White was the first domino to fall. He's the first one of the 2025 class. So now, anyone else that comes knows that they won't be alone. They won't be the only player. Sadiq White was first. Now Kenne Anthony. Come on, man. Now, the thing is that when I looked it up, I've done some research on Kenne Anthony on when the timeline is, when he's expected to make his decision. And obviously it's up to him when he wants to make it. But he previously stated that he probably won't make a decision until November or early December. That was what came out about a week ago. I wonder if the Sadiq White announcement changes things. I wonder if he already knew that Sadiq White was coming to Syracuse. Either way, I think the fact that Kenne Anthony reposting the commitment on his own Instagram is a positive step and a positive sign that Syracuse basketball is probably going to land Kenne Anthony too, a high-end 4-star recruit, one of the standout performers in high school or in the EYBL last week. I think it's a precursor for what's to come here. Syracuse is also in the lead for 4-star combo guard Tyler Jackson. There's that as well. When I had Sam Kaiser on 5 weeks ago, he said, well, it's basically Syracuse to lose. And if anyone's going to steal Tyler Jackson away, it would be Maryland. That's about it. So Kenne Anthony could be next. And then after that, maybe it's Tyler Jackson. And then after that, who knows? What I will say is that if they get Sadiq White and they get Kenne Anthony and they get Tyler Jackson, they probably don't need anyone else in the portal. You have a guard in Kenne Anthony, you have a combo guard in Tyler Jackson, and you have a power forward in Sadiq White, who's a great defender and who can rebound. It doesn't appear, based on who Syracuse is offering in 2025, that they're going after a center, which means we're probably portal hunting again for a big man next offseason. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's hard to focus on everyone or every position, especially out of high school. And it's better in the transfer portal next year if they can just focus on getting one player. Makes your life easier, makes it so that you only have to develop your resources to one. Looks like we're going portal hunting for a center. As I said, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And by the way, I do have a plan to do a podcast on basically everyone that Syracuse basketball is offering in 2025 over the course of the summer. I have like a whole list of all possible podcasts I can use, but one of which is to literally do a profile on every single player. So if you want that, comment in the comment section below if you want a profile on every single prospect. I also do want to bring on a national insider again, like a Sam Kaiser, maybe him again, to go over recruiting. Overall, I think that Adrian Autry has done an outstanding job so far with his recruiting. getting Donnie Freeman in 2024 and then holding on to him and then him becoming a 5-star player. That's huge. And I want to go back to the fact that I said holding on to him. You can commit early, but players can always decommit unless they have officially signed. Unless they have signed that national letter of intent, you can decommit. It happens all the time. The fact that they got him early last year in Donnie Freeman, and then they held on to him. It's kind of like in Seinfeld, except the opposite, where there was that episode in Seinfeld where Jerry is complaining at the car dealership because he made a reservation for a rental car and they took the reservation, but they didn't hold the reservation. You got to be able to hold it. So they got Donnie Freeman to commit, and they got him to hold the commitment. And they did the same thing with Elijah Moore. He committed early, and they got him to hold that commitment. And with Sadiq White, it's got to be the same thing where, yeah, he commits a little bit early. It's only May 30th at the time of this recording. He did commit on May 29th. He doesn't have to sign for months. But now you got to get him to hold on to that commitment. And I'm pretty confident based on Adrian Autry's track record so far with Donnie Freeman and with Elijah Moore that Sadiq White is going to hold on to it. And assuming he does hold on to it, other players are probably going to follow, like Kenne Anthony, like Tyler Jackson. And there are plenty of others that they're offering, but we do not have all day. So I'm not going to list every single player. But this is a really good step for Syracuse basketball and getting into that national stage once again, being one of those elite teams in the country that we all want. We all want the glory days. We all want them back, and we all have different opinions as to how they get there, but we all want them to get there, and it's certainly possible. And getting a guy like Sadiq White is the start of what hopefully could be one of the best classes in the country, one of the best recruiting classes in the country. I believe right now they're already ranked like 6th, just based on getting one player. Basketball is a little bit weird because there's not a lot of players in a recruiting class typically. Only like Duke and Carolina get all the players. It's a positive step in the right direction. I'm pleased. I think you should be too. Leave your thoughts in the comments below on Sadiq White's commitment to Syracuse basketball, and if you think that Kenne Anthony is on the way as well. Feels good. Feels good that Sadiq White is coming. Now, coming up on the podcast, Poll Friday is tomorrow, where I ask the question, who do you prefer next for Syracuse basketball to add? This is for 2024. Sadiq White is 2025, so we're not going to see him this year, but we'll see him the following year. Who would you prefer, August Mahoney, Lucas Taylor, or a third-string center, which I did the Poll Friday on. I asked the question on Monday, and then, of course, it comes out that August Mahoney probably won't get that extra year of eligibility. So then, I guess we're going to talk about Lucas Taylor or a third-string center. That's going to be the debate. And looking at the voting results, most of you guys preferred Mahoney anyway. So, looks like it's going to be Lucas Taylor or a third-string center that is coming next for Syracuse basketball. Man, does it feel good, though, that at least for 2025, we know that Sadiq White is going to be with Syracuse.